Rabbi Daniel Kaplan. Maybe you have a few words for us.
Yeah, okay, we'll say a few words. A few years ago, had these talks that we called it Sichas Chum Shel Talmidei Chacham. And then I ran out of things to say, or other reasons maybe. In a few years it hasn't been, I haven't had it on. Interesting is that exactly a year ago I was in America and I went to Lakewood for a Shabbos. And I spoke by a kiddush. Somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, I recognize your voice. You're the one." He heard me. He heard me. These talks that I gave this.
Amen.
And he recognized my voice, and he said the style, it's the same style what I spoke over there. Anyway, it just so happened, Bashgacha Pratis, that something came into my head yesterday, and I had a strong feeling that I have a need to express it. I'll tell you, the story was like this. I was having pain in my toes. And sometimes there's such a thing called patriot. I don't know how you say it in English. Some kind of germs in the toes, and sometimes it can be painful. You have to go to a person that knows how to clean your toes, cut the toenails and clean it. So I went there. My son-in-law sent me to this person. I went there and did a good job. I think I'm feeling better. I was a few days. I was even walking with a cane because of this. And now it's feeling better. And by the way, I remembered the halacha in Hilchos Chol Hamoed that you're allowed to cut the toenails of a horse because he won't walk so good if he has long toenails. So it's a tzarech hamoed that he should be able to ride on him. So this is a horse, but it's a person also. It's the same thing. Now,
speak louder, Rabbi Kaplan.
I was sitting by this person, and he was asking me, or I was telling him a little bit about what happened to me in the last year. So I was telling him that I was in the hospital in the beginning of the winter for 2 weeks with a germ. They got into me. And he's very serious and he doesn't smile. Kolshkin that he doesn't know how to make a joke. And he says, he's from this person. And he says, well, they don't know anything about the cause of things. And this is the standard way how these kind of people talk about that the hospitals and the doctors, they don't know the root of where things come from. They only know how to heal the symptoms. But they don't know how to heal the root of the problem. I'm just wondering, are they so smart, these people, that they know this idea, and all the hospitals and all the doctors don't know this, and they don't heal the root of the problem? I don't know what to answer on this question. Maybe they really don't know, and this is the best they can do. So what are you going to say?
Well, Rabbi Kaplan, we have the words of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, you know.
Yeah, that what?
I don't know the exact words at the moment, but, keep away from doctors. They don't know. Baruch, such a thing.
I know that. It's interesting, I'll tell you, that the Stipler used to say, Harofim lo yodim.
Oh?
Did you ever hear that? That's what he used to say.
Yeah.
to people. But on the other hand, first of all, Rabbi Nachman was 200 years ago. Who says he's talking about the same doctors as nowadays? Second of all, what I want to say, but my okay, let's say that he was talking about the doctors nowadays, but my question is, do the doctors of nowadays know this idea, this yesod, that you can't heal the shoresh, the root of the problem, you can only heal the symptoms? I'm talking about what do they think? So you're telling me what Rabbi Nachman said, okay, but
And the
what...
Stipler.
What?
The Stipler also thought like that.
They also thought like
The Stipler!
the Stipler also thought like that. So I'm asking on the Stipler, what I'm not allowed to ask.
No.
I'm allowed to ask.
Ask?
Now, I read in a book, and I'm not sure where I read it. I think there was some doctor and healer. His name was Andrew Weill.
Oh, yeah, we used to have his books.
Yeah, I think that's where I read this. That he claims that 100 years ago, when medicine started to develop, or whenever, I don't know when they discovered antibiotics, maybe less than 100 years ago. So they saw that there's place to make an industry out of it, and you can make a lot of money. And they had power. So the medical profession, the way it is nowadays, became strong. And all the other ways of healing with grass and with herbs, that was forgotten. Because the medical profession was stronger, and all the other ways of healing were forgotten because they were weak. Maybe it's true and maybe it's not true, and I don't know. I want to say, so an idea came to my mind. How are we supposed to know what way to go on? Let's say I almost fainted. I was exhausted. It happened on Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan, and I was at home. And actually, a few days before that, I was weak and tired and exhausted. And it was on Simchas Torah. I was in Shul, in the minyan of Reb Dov Zupnik, which I enjoy so much, that minyan. And this was the third year I was there. And I was with the whole tzibur, but then when it came to the laning, I sat down. And when it came to the Siyum HaTorah, which Reb Dov himself insisted that he has to lane it, although I really think I can do it better, but I'm not the boss to say what to do. And he laned it, and I sat down, and I fell asleep, and I didn't hear the Siyum HaTorah. And it's got me scared. And I just was afraid. And I just went on with that. I didn't go to another shul. And I was weak and tired. In the afternoon, I got even more weak. And I stopped at Mincha Marv at home and fell asleep. And a few days later, I was so weak that I think I called my son, or my son of Ramzan, and he had something that you could check for corona. And we used it, and we saw that it wasn't corona, and then I fell on the floor in the bathroom. And then once they took me to the hospital, I was there for 2 weeks. What did they do in the hospital? They pumped me with antibiotics. Pumped. And then when I went home, so for a few weeks, 6 weeks, I was pumped with antibiotics. They put a little, how do you say that, a little pipe in my arm. And every day I was supposed to hook up a small bottle of antibiotics that it drips slowly into the arm, into the vein. And that's for 6 weeks, as a large amount of antibiotics. Now, then it got better. It seems that it got better. I hope it'll still be better. So, this was a germ that got into me. And they didn't know, the doctors in the hospital, they admitted, we don't know how did the germ get into you. So, of course, I mean, how could they know how the germ got into me?
I call Rabbi Kaplan.
What?
Just to say a word, we have a friend, and especially I have a friend, Rabbi Yonason, we won't mention his family name, who is one of the biggest geniuses, one of the biggest natural healers, a genius from the Olam geniuses, but he's disappeared. We don't know where he is right now, so we weren't able to come on to him. I'm sure he would have had what to say.
You think he would have what to say?
Yeah.
Okay, that could be. The big doctor thought maybe I went into a cave in the Amazon. And over there, Amazon is the name of a forest in South America, I think.
I thought it was a book company.
It's also a book company. but the real Amazon is this forest, and it's some big area, and there could be all kinds of bugs over there that are not in the rest of the world. What are you talking about, Amazon? What am I, an Israeli that goes traveling to find themselves? I find myself when I learn Atosis. I find myself when I start thinking into Atosis and an idea comes to my head. I find myself. I don't have to go places. So, and by the way, that's my nature. I just hate traveling. I hate traveling. Even now that my daughter said, "Why don't you come to visit us again?" I just don't feel
Your daughter
like
in Cleveland.
Cleveland. My daughter lives in Cleveland.
One daughter lives in Cleveland.
One daughter out of 3. So I wasn't the problem of the money. It was just a problem to me. It's boring.
You know the famous word from Chaim Kanievsky, a neched, young neched asked him once at the Purim Suda, and Mordechai was riding on the horse, and what was he thinking at the time, Mordechai?
Yeah.
So he was thinking about the Gula, where it's starting to change now. So the Rav Chaim Kanievsky told me, this is a brand new biography. I just saw it today in the bookstore. He said he was thinking, when are they going to get this heavy thing off my head and get off the horse and I can go back to learning?
Yeah. What do I need this horse and this crown? Yeah. So I was in Cleveland last year. My son-in-law took me, and you know what we saw? The Lake Erie. You know what that is?
No.
There's 5 lakes, or 4 or 5 lakes around Ohio.
The Great Lakes.
The Great Lakes, they're called.
Yeah, I heard about it.
One of them is Lake Erie. So I saw Lake Erie. Wow, amazing. I think I should have made a bracha, Osimasi Bereshis. I didn't remember. And another thing I saw was the Dalzer Yeshiva was even more interesting than seeing the Lake Erie. And I saw the Yeshiva Ketana of Dalzer, I davened Mincha there. But how much
Rabbi Kaplan.
you take?
Hello, Rabbi Kaplan.
What?
This reminds me of it was the yard site this week of the Klosenberger Rebbe. So they were driving him on someplace, and they told him, "Look up, you see these buildings in New York City." And he said, "I don't want to see any great things in New York and the B'chutz La'aretz, only in Eretz Yisrael." This is before I started reading this new sefer I told you about. Well, back to the subject, yeah.
I think he predicted, this Rav Spitzer told me, he predicted that the Twin Towers are going to fall.
Wow.
Did he tell me? Anyway, good, so you might say, but your grandchildren, you're not interested in them. The truth is they're girls, and they weren't so interested in me, to tell you the truth. Anyway, or maybe it's my fault. I can't really say. So what do I want to bring out from all this? I want to bring out like this. There's a big world out there. Now, every individual has his cheshbon and his outlook on life. When we talk in general, Hashem is running the world. That means individual has bechira. It's as if bechira, it's a very deep inyan and a big secret. The bechira is that you could you could choose to do against Hashem's will. Okay, and that the Rishonim, they talk about it. It's one of the deep inyonim in the Torah. But how Hashem runs the tzibur is another thing. How he runs the tzibur. Now, let's say they maybe will take the most extreme way of looking or what could have happened, that they were evil people years ago, and they decided to make an industry out of medicine, and they saw you could make a lot of money from it, and they took over the field of healing. And those that were real healers, they were forgotten. Let's say that's true. But this is Hashem that made it happen, that made the world this way. That this is the world we're living in. Now, since he did it, I'm not mechuyev.
Talk louder, Rabbi Kaplan.
I'm not obligated to try to understand how Hashem is running the world. And it's legitimate for me to go along with Hashem's way of running the world. And Hashem runs the world through doctors and hospitals.
He runs the Olam HaDimyon that way. We have real doctors, natural healers.
Yeah, but...
not the ones that advertise on the radio.
Well, who tells me that?
Me, I've been telling you for years.
I'm not mechuyev to know this. I'm not mechuyev to investigate this. I'm mechuyev to make a decision on this. Because this is how the world runs. Let's say that somebody will say, I don't know, what do you have to walk on your feet, walk on your head? This is how the world runs. Why should I walk on my head? Why should I think maybe there's a different way about it? Or what do you have to wear clothing? Why don't you go back to Adam Rishon before the head? No, this is how the world runs. I'm saying like this. So let's say that they're all evil, and they created medicine that could kill the symptoms, but can't heal the root of the problem. So this is what Hashem wants from me, to go along with this.
Listen, Rabbi Kaplan, can I inject a word here? Now,
Yeah.
well, there's a mamutza. I have the book here in English, Dr. Eichach. This is Rabbi Shach's number one. He was his driver, his health advisor, everything. And he wrote a book. He's a big kanoi on being healthy. And there's certain rules that everybody, even the doctors, no Coca-Cola, many things. You have to stand up every hour and take a little walk a little bit. Many, many things, natural rules, that we can make a mamutza. Yeah, I need your exercise, a mamutza.
It could be.
Well, it could be. You don't, אתה לא גורס את זה. אני ראיתי, אתה שותה קוקה-קולה. אני לא טעמתי קוקה-קולה, לא יודע, מאז קליפורניה אולי.
Yeah, but I'm not arguing on that.
But you're not Makayim it.
That's my personal problem.
Oh, okay. Continue.
So what I'm saying is that you can't come and tell me that all the doctors don't know and the hospitals don't know and they all run the wrong way. I'll tell you what I always say. One of my sisma, not a sisma.
And speak loud.
Margila bepume. There's a Gemara, Margila bepume. A Gemara in Brachas in the end of the second parak, Daf Yud Zayin. That there were certain sayings that certain Chazals used to say that was their motto. And one of my Margala bepumes is Eretz nitno biyad Rosha. Yov said the world was given over to the Rosha. Who's the Rosha? The Sultan. That's how Hashem runs the world. That He gives the Sultan permission to run the world, to rule the world. What's our job? Our job is not to go erase the Sultan. Our job is to live under his rule. But we believe, and we were taught that with one yehay, smai, rabbah, korin lo gzar dino shel shivim shona, and that means that you can, that's an atom bomb, one yehay, smai, rabbah, and the Sultan and his whole delay, they all get scared and they all run away from one yehay, smai, rabbah. That's what the Chazal told us to do. They didn't tell us to fix the world. They didn't tell us to let's look for a way to run the world without the Sultan. Of course, there's no way. But we're talking about other things that we think. That we do have power. We can. Let's say what's happening nowadays with the left. The smallness. And they're trying to take over the Medina and throw over the government. There are certain people that they call them anarchists. They're trying to close up the airport. Of course it's terrible. But we also have to know we're limited in what we can do. We have to go with Emunah. The Emunah says, you'll do Ratzon Hashem. Everything will be all right. That's what the government doesn't know. Of course they don't know. They don't know. They don't understand. Look what happened in the time of Chizkiah. That Sancherib, his general Rav Shokei, he said to the Jewish people, what do you think? Look what You need a plan. Did you learn tactics of war? No. So what are you sitting there in the base medrash and learning, and you're going to think that everything is going to be all right? That's what he said to them. But what happened? That is what happened. They sat in the base medrash, and Chizkiah made sure everybody sits and learns. Everybody knows Hilchos Tumah V'Tara. And they were Bodku Midon Vad Be'er Sheva D'Ho'eretz Yisrael. They didn't find an Amoritz or no Amoritz, Ish V'Isha Tinuk V'Tinokis. They were all Baki B'Hilchos Tumah V'Tara. And what happened? And Sancherov came with his army, millions. The Pasuk says 135,000 generals, not soldiers, generals. And each one had thousands of soldiers under it. They came and they surrounded Jerusalem. The Pasuk says, Oda Yom Benov Lamod. They stood in Nov. What's Nov? Nov, in the Kaftar of Ferach, he says that's Ramallah. There's a city called Ramallah. The Arabs pronounce it Ramallah. And that it's higher than Jerusalem. And when you stand there, you can overlook Jerusalem. And when Sancherv and his army got there, they overlooked Jerusalem. And the astrologer said, you better attack right now. If not, you might lose. He said, what I might lose? This little city, I brought all my millions of soldiers, literally millions. I brought all of them for this little city. Let's go to sleep. Let's have a rest. All night we were tired, and tomorrow each one will pick up a stone and throw it there. And he didn't listen to the astrologers, and that was the Leila Seder. And they got up the next day, and they were all Pegorim, Mesim.
You mean they didn't get up the next day?
What?
You said they got up the next day. They didn't get up.
They didn't get up. There were a few individuals that got up. So they saw they were all dead. So they saw that the power of Chizkiah, that they forced them all to sit and learn. That's what overcame. That means to say that it's not the Teva is, like Eve said, Eretz Nitna B'Yad Rosh. We have to accept that. That's how Hashem made the world. Now Hashem wants we should fight that Rosh in a certain way. The way is Torah Mitzvahs. So what are you going to do? So what's it going to help to complain and to start saying, yeah, they're going to tell you this, they're going to tell you that, they're going to give you antibiotics. What should I do? Not take in the antibiotics that they gave me. Not to allow them to pump me up with antibiotics. That's the way Hashem is running the world now. And that's the way the shluchim of Hashem are running the world. And that's the world that I'm living in. What do I care where it all started from? And I'm sure the Ashgacha Pratis will see to it that I should have a refuah shleima. I think I had already a refuah shleima. And the reason why Hashem created antibiotics is a secret that we don't really know the answer to it. That's what I want to say. But all this is more important is in Ruchnias. We have to know we go through different situations in life. We sometimes I get very depressed and I feel like I'm surrounded by a black cloud. And especially when you live alone, it happens. But you have to know that you have to Eitz chaim lamachazek Machzikim bo. You have to hold on to the Torah. It doesn't say those that think and those that learn. You have to just hold on to it. Read the words, say the words, translate the words, and eventually you'll get out of this situation. The ikar is that we're at war. On the one hand, there's there, it's nitno biyad rosha. On the other hand, there's the kedusha that we can fight. I would even go further to say, you think you're so smart, and all the doctors don't know what they're doing, only you know. You're going to do some kind of natural healing. That itself is already giving power to the soul. That's gaiva. If you're a tomim, Hashem will watch over you. If you're a big chochem and you're so smart and you know it's not good, Hashem might say to you, you're so smart, you know what's good, what's not good. So take care of yourself if you're so smart. That's already dangerous. To say take care of yourself is dangerous. Okay, I'm getting tired. I tried to start earlier. It didn't work out. But now, it's late. So this is what I wanted to say. If I have more to say, maybe I'll come back later at a different time.
Okay, thank you very much, Rabbi Kaplan.
Bye.
Litrot, Walayla Tov, Kol Tov.